Welcome to Tigs Bits. We are wrapping up the college football season tonight, and I'd say it was a pretty good season for all three of us associated with the show. Blasi and JR's Troy Trojans won the Sunbelt Conference for the second year in a row. JR's Tide won the SEC championship and snuck into the playoffs. And my LSU Tigers struggled defensively, to say the least, but had the best player in college football in Jayden Daniels, who should win the Heisman Trophy. Hopefully he does. We're going to talk about all of that and the Florida State snub. Look, if you aren't following us on social media, we are on all platforms. Just search at Tigs Bits Podcast. Give us a follow, and don't forget to hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Blasi, it is good to see you, my friend. I can't believe college football season's basically over, dude.
Dude, it's, you know what's crazy is as you were sitting there doing that intro and winding up the regular season, now we actually had the conference championships as well. Like, how it just seems like literally 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago that we were sitting there talking about taking in this season, enjoying each week, savoring every moment. You know, both as, you know, it's LSU fans, Bama fans, Troy fans here on here, and anybody else who's a college football fan. Enjoy each week, you know, and like, here we are. You know what I mean? It's over with. Yeah. It's like, God, it happened so fast. It's like each season gets faster, man. It's so crazy.
They do. And I mean, there has to be some reason to why we feel this way. You know, I mean, it just happens so fast. You just blink your eye and bam, it's done. I mean, it's a quarter of the season. It's a quarter of the year, but that quarter goes by very, very fast, man. But look, we had a little mid-season show where I had a meltdown, which was fantastic. You know, hey, nothing changed either from that one. For the record, you know, LSU's defense wasn't fixable. It never got any better, and it cost them, because they're a team that could have made noise and could have been a playoff team had they had a defense. Offensively, they were amazing. But
gosh, yes, they were.
But dude, I mean, we had John Sumrall, the Sunbelt champion for the second year in a row, probably will be the Sunbelt Coach of the Year, I would think. What an honor that we had him on here, riding down to media days. I mean, it just feels like it was like 3 weeks ago that we did that, man.
I know, man.
But it was back in September, wasn't it? Or late August.
No, dude, that was actually July.
That was in July. Good Lord.
Yes, it was. Yeah, because I was in Nashville when we recorded that. I was there for our national sales meeting.
Wow. And, I mean, makes it even crazier. That was in July. Football season hadn't even started yet, and it feels like it was just yesterday that we were talking to him.
It's nuts. It's nuts, man. No, it's been awesome, dude. It's he's dude. I mean, what he's done there at Troy, like, you know, like it's so cool. What's strange about it though, if you look at last season and this season, they're almost identical. Like they are in the way that the schedule played out. We started 1-2 last year, and then we reeled off 10 in a row, ended up with 11 in a row after winning the bowl game, and here we go again this season. Yep. 1-2, and we've reeled off 10 in a row again. Hopefully, we get that 11-0 against Duke coming up.
Yeah.
So it's just, but I'm pinching myself, and I realize we just got to play for 2 Sunbelt Conference Championships in a row at home, and have won both of them.
I love that it gets.
That's so awesome, dude.
I like that it's at home. You know, that the higher seed gets to play that game at home. That's the way. I mean, that's the way it should be. It just makes for a great atmosphere. It was fun to watch on TV. You know.
Yeah, we had a lot of bad weather coming in. Like there were severe threats of like lightning, and like we're talking about even possible tornadoes. So it really scared some people away. But I'll tell you who it didn't scare away were those students. Those students showed up.
They were there.
They were loud and proud. They did a great job.
Yeah, they did. They did a fantastic job. It was a good game too. The score really it got away from Appalachian State there at the end. The Trojans turned it on, but it was a one possession game going into the fourth quarter. just wide.
Great
Yeah, it was a
football
great football game, a great football game. And so tell us a little bit. I got a phone call, everybody, not long after the game. I was expecting one, but I wasn't expecting the good stuff that Blasi brought. So tell us about it, man. What happened after the game ended for Chad Blasi that night?
Oh, man. So I'll back up to the beginning of that game first, because throughout the season, we applied for our press credentials and we got those for the season. So very first game I pick up, I got press passes for every single home game. They gave us parking passes. It's so awesome, right?
Yeah.
So we had that opportunity to go in and that's when we were able to interview DeMarcus Ware,
right?
Spend some time there, do some cool stuff. Now, I wasn't able to make it to every game, so I wasn't able to make it to all the press conferences or anything. I just did some pregame activities on the field, got some footage for our show, did things like that,
Yeah.
but I didn't always go to the press conference. And so I'd emailed them on Thursday. I was like, well, I don't have anything for the Sunbelt Conference Championship. Where's my press pass here? And I emailed the guy in charge there, and he asked me what it was I needed. So I just reminded him, I've got tickets. We've got an end zone. We've got a tent situation. I just need access before and for the press conference. And then, so I get there, but he never responded back after that email. And I was like, well, okay. So I get there and I go to the place where I'd picked him up originally, and there's nobody there. And I was like, man, so I'm searching, and I find him, it's Adam. And I was like, hey man, I was like trying to get on, out here. He said, well, you haven't been to the post-game press conferences. And he said, well, I didn't think you really needed those. I was like, so I explained my situation. I was like, no. I was like, I've been here. I interviewed DeMarcus Ware. I've been on the field. We've done footage from the sidelines from the game. Like, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for the access. I apologize. I haven't come in there to bother the coach after the game, but I promise you. He was like, well, I'll get you one. It's fine. I said, well, I'll be there tonight, so I got to show up. So I tell him, hey man, I'm about to lose our credentials that we just got. So, so yeah, I fully planned. I was like, okay, I've got to go in after the game. So following the game, first of all, watched our kids go out there. It was great. Hal was there with me. He had his son there with me. I had my son there, Hale, with me. And they rushed the field. They tore down the goalposts.
Man, that thing snapped like a twig, dude. I went, wow, that's one of those old school, the old way that whenever teams or people would storm the field and the goalposts would come down, like that thing, it looked like you just breathed on it. The thing just snapped. It was awesome.
It got absorbed so fast that it was like crazy. It was just gone. Like, did they eat that thing? What do they do with it? But like in the corner that we are in is the corner that you would exit the stadium to, because it's the northwest corner of the stadium, and that's where we are. So right below us is that tunnel. And so every time they were coming with a piece of the field goal, they're coming right by us to leave the stadium with it. And then we look up, and there's Murphy riding that thing like Seabiscuit, like a horse up there.
Of course he was. Of course he was.
and my son's just walking next to him. He's a little bit more cautious than Murphy is. So he's just walking next to this thing.
Look at this kid. Our field correspondent, too, by the way, everybody. Mr. Murphy Laird. Absolutely.
That is Murphy Laird,
I love it.
riding that goalpost out of the stadium.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's so good. So I wait for that to go down. They drag the stage onto the field. They go through, shoot the confetti in the, the sky, award the trophy. So I'll wait for that to play out. Then I go down onto the field. I was letting the madness kind of settle in. But yeah, that's so I'm down the field and just seeing different people. And I saw Rusty Witt, who's their strength and conditioning coach. And I go up and he's got him a big cigar, celebrating. And I just said, hey man, what's up, coach? I was like, Chad Blasi, just introduced myself to him. And, told him how great of a job I thought he's done the last year or two that he's been there. And it's just his impact has been tremendous. Well, a guy that I work with, he used to be his strength and conditioning coach over at Louisiana with the Raging Cajuns. And he told me about him, like last year. It's like, dude, that guy's amazing. And his story is even more amazing. He's a Green Beret Special Forces guy, left out of coaching to go serve his country.
Oh, man.
And then come back into coaching. And they were just saying, this guy is just unreal. He was like, he has you ready to run through a brick wall, so heard so much about him, and obviously seeing what our team's done the last two seasons. As we get into the third quarter, sometimes we're down, it's close, and it's like, here goes that gas pedal. You know what I mean? Like, wow, we're really like start dominating the line of scrimmage. Our run game finally really opens up usually in the fourth quarter, and it's been consistent.
Yeah.
Game over game over game over game, So I was just thinking about that, talking with him. So I'll kind of speed this up. But anyway, I'll get to go into the locker room, listen to the post, the speech after the game that he delivers to the team. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of lost because I have not been, I will admit, I have not been to a post-game press conference. So I didn't even know where that would take place. So I'm trying to get out of this locker room, but it's kind of a madhouse. Everybody's celebrating. They got cigars. It's packed.
Yeah.
I start walking one way, and I'm like, I think this is the way out. Maybe it'll probably take me down a hallway to get here. And I end up in the damn showers, literally. Like I've turned the corner, like, don't think this is going to work for me. Let me back out. So now I got to go back through everybody. And now I'm starting that timer's going off in my head. I'm like, dude, this press conference is about to start and I'm not there, and I start walking and I end up in the weight room. Their facility there at that end zone, it's really impressive and it's pretty huge, so you kind of get lost. And I'm standing there and I look up and there's Coach Sumrall. He happens to be standing there. He looks over at me. He was like, you look lost. And I was like, I am. I'm trying to get to the post-game press conference. He was like, come on, son, let's go. Just follow me. So he and I sit there and chat the whole way. It was so cool. We're walking. He's like, there's my brother in front of me. He's got his kids. They came down from Atlanta to watch the game today. He said, so that was so cool. So he and I were just rapping, walking in. He's got his hand on my shoulder. We're talking when the door opens up, and it's the guy who was about to take my credentials from me, which, hey, I understand.
Sure.
He just thinks I've been clowning around with this and not taking it seriously, but I have been. I've just been in different places.
Yeah. A silent assassin.
Walk in, just
that's what you be.
Kind of just nod my head at him, like,
yeah,
how's it going, Adam?
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
So Coach and I show up fashionably late to the press conference. All the press is there; they're seated, except for me.
Oh my Lord,
Coach Chad Blasi with Tigs Bits here. So we've seen all season. We saw last season. Like, this is a team, like, the first half may be slow sometimes. But, like, that second half, like, how much of this do you attribute that to Rusty Witt football?
Yeah, a ton of it. Our guys, I think, are the best trained football team in America. And I think they commit themselves to taking care of their bodies. Our guys are pros. All three of these guys do a fantastic job, and Witt does a great job, and Colin Kenyon, Nick, Steve Harvey, all the guys that work in our weight room just serve and develop our players so well. And the guys buy into that. And, I think the weight room builds the physical part, but it also builds the mental part, and it reinforces the core values of your program. And Coach Witt does a fantastic job. Me and him are, almost like brothers with how much we talk about big picture vision of the team and the pulse of the team, and, talking about complacency being a killer, and me and him text all parts of the day until, we're always going back and forth. He's been a huge part of the success, and really, probably some people may not think this is the smartest thing to share, but when I took this job, I had a plan to not keep Coach Witt. I was going to bring my own straight coach, and I met with the players, and a lot of them, some of these guys that are up here, said, Coach Witt's awesome. Because I said, hey, give me 2 things you'd change and 2 things you'd keep the same. And all of them were like, Coach Witt, keep him. Coach Witt, keep him. Coach Witt, keep him. And I'm going, well, I wasn't really asking for their staff decisions. And then I sat down and got to know Coach Witt, and I thought, this might be a pretty good fit. We're kind of like kindred spirits in some regards. I'm not sure if that's a compliment to myself, because he's a Green Beret and he's tougher than nails and sometimes a little bit crazy, but he has really helped, and he loves our players. We talk about our core values: attitude, toughness, discipline, love. Rusty Witt has tremendous love for our players.
So yeah, that was the video of Blasi in the post-game press conference, championship post-game press conference. So Tigs Bits, dude, we're just growing. We're at conference championships now. We're nothing but winners in this room anyhow. We don't have, unfortunately tonight, we don't have our compadre, JR, the handler. He shot us a text just a few minutes before we were jumping in. He was apparently trying to get well all day, but he said, it's just a no-go, boys. My throat's out. He's flying to Vegas, I think, later on this week. I'm sure he's I'm sure they have some shows or something with Justin Moore out there. So no big deal. We'll have him back. But I hate it for him tonight because, I have to give credit where credit is due. And the Alabama Crimson Tide have won the SEC championship. And like I said, all we do is win in here. All three of us are winners in some form or fashion. But yeah,
so no big shocker there.
No,
really.
It's not. It's not a big shocker at all. But hey, I was not a shocker that Alabama beat Georgia by any means. It's not a shocker if Alabama beats anybody. But Georgia 29 in a row. That game, all of a sudden, really, I never looked at it as a quarterfinal playoff game until Saturday. And I'm like, oh, well, wait. There's some things now that if Georgia were to lose, then this creates pure chaos across all of college football. We alluded to that a little bit last week, and it certainly did. It certainly did, and it landed them into the college football playoff. So what are your thoughts on the four teams that made it, Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama? Do you think they got it right?
So here's the thing, based on what they had to work with, which is taking 6 teams that you could easily argue should be in that top 4.
Yeah.
You could argue from any standpoint. Yeah. And they had to put 4 teams in there. I mean, there's just no way around it. 2 people were going to be really unhappy. Is Georgia still a top 4 team, in my opinion? Absolutely they are.
For sure.
Does Florida State deserve to be in there? Yeah. Did Bama just beat number 1 Georgia? Yeah. I mean, it's like, dude, everybody has an argument.
They all have
right?
an argument.
You keep going. Yeah, they do. And it's like, and I think their job was based on the format right now. Here's the problem. We should be at 12 teams already.
Yeah.
The ACC commissioner was one of those that said, ooh, let's pump the brakes a couple of years ago. And if they hadn't have done that, they would be in the playoffs right now. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this thing going. And now this is a year where it really, really hurt them and hurt other teams too. So this would have been an exciting year for that 12-team playoff. There's a lot of good football.
There
teams.
are.
Oregon in the mix.
Yeah.
There's like so many other teams there that would have been really cool to see what would have happened. So, man, it is what it is. At the end of the day, is Alabama better than FSU? And that's the way the criteria is right now. Who's the best 4 teams? And I think they are. I mean, I think if they played tomorrow, Bama would probably an 8 to 10 point favorite.
I would
7 to 8 or 9 somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
minimum, right?
Oh,
so I guess they got it right, but I still feel bad for Florida State.
They may even be even more than that, honestly.
Maybe.
I feel terrible for Florida State, for their fans. I mean, you're in a Power 5 conference. You win your conference. You don't lose a single game. You beat the brakes off of LSU really in the second half. You beat an SEC, a top tier SEC team who you beat them worse than Alabama. If you're going to just compare them, SEC versus ACC, Florida State beat LSU worse than Alabama beat LSU. I mean, I'm not taking any moral victories from either one of them. They both suck losing, but I mean, and then the argument really comes. I mean, you do that. I think that you have to include them because it's just a slap in the face of the other 21 kids that are playing, that you're just saying that quarterback was the whole reason, which, I mean, yeah, Jordan Travis is an amazing player and he is what got them offensively there, but their defense is pretty dadgum salty. They deserve to play in the playoffs, and now they get to, we'll see what happens whenever they play Georgia. But I mean, that's two teams that I think will feel slightly slighted, and then who knows what, that could be a great ball game and it could be a fun one, or it could just be a disaster of they may both be sleepwalking whenever they play. But
you never know. Like if there was some like a little bit more juice in that action, you know what I mean? Like I still obviously think Georgia's the better football team today, but who knows, man? I mean, like who knows? But and who knows how that game's going to.
Well, you get a month.
What I do like about next year is you got automatic qualifiers.
Yes.
There's no more the subjective, find the 4 best. No, who is deserving? You're deserving. You just won your conference championship. You're in, right?
Yeah.
You're the highest rated group of 5 team, and you won your conference championship. You're in.
Yep.
There's these automatic, and then you give these at large bids, but there should be automatic pathways, and right now there's just not. That's just unfortunately that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
you crappy 14 playoff.
You have a Power 5, and you have 4 slots. Let's say all 5 of them go undefeated, or all 5 of them have 1 loss. Yeah, who goes? Who's more worthy of the other? And I would have included them. Then my conversation then just comes to there's going to be one loss team that makes it. Is it going to be Alabama? Is it going to be Texas? And I go with Texas based off of that because they played head to head, and Texas went on the road and went to Alabama and beat them pretty good. Yeah, I mean, they should have beat them worse than they did, really. The score doesn't even reflect what they did in Tuscaloosa that day. I mean, and it's not because I'm an Alabama hater. I'm an LSU guy that I don't think I think Bama absolutely deserves to be in the playoffs because of what they did. And you win the SEC, I think you're in. But they didn't go undefeated, and I think that they should have only included one team that had 1 loss. And then you can make that argument with Texas or Alabama, and if they played today, who would win? I can tell you who will win. If they do end up playing, Alabama's going to win. You ain't beating Saban twice in the same year. No way. Good luck. So, and it's in.
Well, it's just like Florida State's a different team without their quarterback. Yeah. Alabama's a different team with their quarterback finally really coming into his own, right?
That's correct.
Guy that developed throughout a season. That's really unbelievable to do it in that spotlight.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You see people do that at smaller schools where the spotlight's not so great, but from getting benched to just thinking he might be an okay producer at some point, to becoming just an absolute sensation for your team. That's pretty wild. So and I hear the kid talk, man. He's wiry. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
He does. He's good. He has gotten better and better in every single game. I mean, I think what Nick Saban has done this year at Alabama has been unbelievable. It is why he is the GOAT. It is why he is the greatest of all time, the best football coach ever. He knows how to get the most out of what he is working with. And some years that he has had teams that it was a lot easier for them. They already had the leadership built in. They were able to, the McElroy years and stuff like that. They just had that nucleus around them to be able to win and for the players to go in. They had to buy in, dude. They were spiraling down after that Texas game, and people were starting to write him off, write Saban off, write Alabama off.
Dude, they almost, they got there almost lost against USF.
Yeah.
South Florida, not UCF, South Florida.
Yes,
right?
Correct. They were in shambles. It didn't, and I did not think there was any chance they would win out at that point for sure. But they did, and they beat LSU. Then they have the Auburn game, which it took a miracle and a 4th and 31 miracle to win it. But that is when they hit that, I said, oh yeah, it's their year. And I think
that's it.
I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to win the whole thing.
You got to have luck.
Yeah, you got to have luck.
I do too.
I think that cemented it in. And my only hope as an LSU fan is that this will, maybe this retires Saban. I hope they win it so that he retires. And bye. Let's move on. Let's see what happens next.
Let's get past this.
I think he's done an amazing job, and he did a great job at LSU as well. I love Nick Saban. I always have. Never hated that he left to go to Miami. Understood that he wanted to get back in the college game. Absolutely loathe that it was Alabama that he went back to, but but the job wasn't open to come back to LSU.
No.
And I sure wish he would have. But, oh well.
Man, it'd be a lot different right now, wouldn't it?
We'd probably be on
different.
about our 13th national championship had he been here because he had already built it. You know?
And I'd be willing to bet there'd probably be an LSU, like you'd probably have LSU tattooed on your forehead.
Oh, most likely. Yeah, I'd look like Post Malone or something at this point with all the natties all over me.
So you know what? Maybe he did you a favor.
He may have.
Maybe did you a favor.
Yeah, I want to apologize to that bobblehead doll of Nick Saban's that I had that I threw into a fire whenever he left and joined Alabama. That thing is probably worth something. I could have sold that thing. I think it was with Bank One. They had these series of bobbleheads. I just trashed that sucker, and everybody that I know did as well. I'm not sorry for that. I just wish I'd have kept it.
Understandably so. Hey, here's an argument that I thought might come up more during all this. Like, okay, so every coach is giving their argument why they're the best, why they should be in there against their resume. And, you know, everybody just assumed it should be Michigan and assumed it should be Washington, which I agree with to some degree. But, dude, what about Michigan and this cheating scandal?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they really drive that a little bit more? Like, wait, these guys, if this is true, they have been stealing signs. If this is true, I'm not saying, but
apparently it's true because it
looks very rough.
Yeah.
You know, like, why wouldn't you be arguing that? Like, I'd argue if I was FSU, I'd have been arguing every direction possible. Like, dude, are y'all going to really let this cheating batch in there? A bunch of cheaters into this post? Like, I thought they would be suspended for this season when it just started all coming out. I was like, there's no way they're going to let them in the playoffs. They've been stealing signals. Like, you know, if it's a run play, you know, if it's a pass play. Like, dear God, you know, that's huge.
It's very huge.
You know?
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing, too. I mean, they're certainly worthy of what they've done on the field, but if they've had a little bit of help, it's just being kind of swept under the rug. Like, what is the precedent now in college football and college sports, period? You can cheat. It's okay. You're just going to get slapped on the wrist. Your coach will get suspended for 3 games. You're going to be fine. Or, you know, that's all good and dandy. You don't like it at a place, you just transfer out. I mean, the bowl season, we'll talk about some of these bowl games that are coming up because there's some that are interesting. But for the most part, they're going to be terrible. Kids are opting out. They don't sit out. If you're going to the pros now, the way that you do it is you don't play in your bowl game. You don't risk injury. Hey, they're just not. That part is not fun anymore. And I think that the playoff is actually going to kind of spice some of those bowls up and make some of the stuff a little bit, you know, it's going to make that a lot more fun next season.
It is. Yeah, I think, and you're right. I think the timing's actually perfect for it based on the environment that we're in today with NIL, with going to, you know, the amount of money you're making there, the amount of money you've got the opportunity to make in the NFL. And like you said, these guys skipping all these bowls. So suddenly, this actually brings the juice back where, hey, let's stay. Let's go win a national championship versus, you know, everybody bailing and running off. So, I don't know. And I want to add to something. So nothing against the Michigan players. Those guys responded unbelievable. Yeah. Like after all this came out, their coach was suspended. So there's nothing against them. I'm just surprised that I didn't hear Florida State's coach. I didn't even hear Georgia or Kirby Smart or even Nick Saban just arguing, even going, hey, why are these guys up here? I think they've been cheating this whole time. But everybody stayed away from it. But props to the players at Michigan. Sure. They responded unbelievable. Like great job.
They did. They had a hell of a season. You know, beat their biggest rival, and they get rewarded with a hot Alabama team. Congrats. You know, I mean,
did you see their faces when they announced that?
I did not. I didn't see. I missed it, but I'm sure they weren't just stoked.
Dude, I've never seen so much. Like they were so dejected. Like when that happened, like dude, they were just the deflation in that room was unbelievable. They were like,
oh boy, oh boy,
Almighty, Nick Saban, huh?
Yeah,
we've never beat him, have we?
No, he probably never will. But yeah, I mean, I do think that's going to be a good ball game. I really do. You know, I mean, and I look forward. It's probably the game that I'm looking the most forward to of all of them until we get to the national championship. Is that Michigan-Alabama game? 2 true blue bloods. You know, 2 of the most, I believe they are the 2 winningest football programs in college football. I may be wrong, but if they're not, they're right up there. So
they are.
It's in the Rose Bowl. You know, it's going to be.
I know. I
saw
that.
Awesome.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, man, what a such greatness there. You got Michigan, you got Alabama, and we're going to the Rose Bowl. Like that's the game.
Yeah,
So it's just like a few years ago when Georgia and Alabama met. Didn't they meet in the first round? And Georgia won. Yeah. Like, to me, that was the national championship.
Oh yeah, it was.
Game, like. Not to say that Washington can't win, because Washington's shown that they've got a hell of a squad too, and they finding a way to beat Oregon twice. Oregon's no joke at all, So I don't know, man. It's gonna be something. And Texas, nothing against Texas. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
was that Oklahoma loss for Texas, worse than Alabama's loss to Texas? Oklahoma's a good team too, but Texas should have won that game. That they blew it. They were a heavy favorite, all of that, and they blew it.
So I did apply for the Birmingham Bowl. So Troy's going to be playing Duke at the Birmingham Bowl. I applied today to get media credentials for that.
Awesome.
That's going to be on the 23rd. Yeah, and I'm going to try to go up a day early and get involved in a few of some more action, like maybe to get some interviews, like while they're the day before. So I'm going to see how that shapes
I'd like
out.
to hear from the running back,
Kamani Vidal.
Man, that kid's good. He's going to do well in the NFL. Like, he's an NFL caliber running back,
and he gets it. He's such a smart kid too, and such a good person. Listen to Coach Sumrall talk about him, just like his work ethic, the type of person he is, and like the team first kind of guy. Like, oh my God, this guy just gets it. Yeah, he's definitely gonna make an impact at that next level. He's only a junior, man. I don't know if he's gonna come out and declare for the draft this year or hang around one more year. Love to see him here, but if it works out for him to go, then take off, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, whatever's best for you.
Hey, buddy, if you'd like to win a Heisman, we'd love for you to come play at LSU next year if you want. Just come on. And if you have any of you boys, any of you boys at Troy can play defense, and I've seen you can. We're looking. So come on. Come to Tigerland, baby. We'll have fun. I promise you. You can come on Tigs Bits. We'll have a good time. So just transfer on over.
So is there ever going to come a day where suddenly, like 10 years down the road, the defensive coordinator at Troy just goes, "Let's go," and just takes the entire defense with him, runs over to LSU or to wherever? I mean, like,
if they don't put any rules,
I don't think we're that far from it.
They don't put any rules in place to stop it, yes, that will happen at some point. I mean, basically, Deion Sanders did that this year to Colorado. Didn't quite.
Yeah.
People seem to forget that he lost the last 8 in a row, but they remember the beginning. When they were 4-0 or whatever, and then that was that.
Yes, they do.
But I mean, he did do a great job. That's 3 more games, I believe, than they won last year, and building a culture. You're not going to turn it around overnight, but.
No, if he'd have had that success, if he'd have kept having any level, if he'd have finished like 8 or 9 games this year, that'd have just been stupid.
It would have been.
That's not supposed to happen.
No.
I don't care how good you are.
No. But he got them looking good. He got them relevant again, and it's one of the fun stories of the football season. They're not on the bowl list, though. They didn't make a bowl.
They did not make a bowl.
I'm looking forward to the Troy Duke game. Duke is sitting out some players. I mean. I don't know what the line is on the game. I'm sure Duke is most likely a favorite.
No, I think Troy's a favorite right now.
Are they? Okay. Well, they should be.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I've looked at so many lines today. I was just checking out some of the stuff. They're either favored by like 4 or 6 points.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Troy should be a favorite in that game because Duke's lost Mike Elko. He's going to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're going to get. They got some kids sitting out.
A couple of guys are hitting the portal.
Yeah.
But they can still play just because they're in the portal. And that's a whole new thing, too, now. Just put yourself in the portal and see what you might get. If you don't get, just stay where you're at. You got 30 days to figure it out.
I saw somebody suggest that every good quarterback that's in college football should just put themselves in the portal. just to see.
That was Carter, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It was
Yeah,
Carter.
I think it was.
I saw
Carter.
that too, and he's right. And I hadn't really thought about that until he said it, and I'd heard him say that before, and I thought he was being kind of funny before, and I read that today, I think it was, or yesterday, and I was like, you know what,
He is right.
Like, just put it out there, especially if you're at a really high profile team, and just what are you going to get from an NIL deal? Like, if hey, I can go get a bag of money, maybe it's worth me going over there.
Yeah. Man, Carter does a great job. We've had him on the show, Carter Bryant. You can follow him on X, YouTube, all of those. He has a show, Carter Power Hour with Carter Bryant, and Power Hour LSU, Power Hour SEC. He's an LSU guy, but he doesn't drink the Kool-Aid LSU stuff, but he can break it down. He's very knowledgeable about sport, any kind of sports. He always has been. So go check his show out.
He is.
We had him on. That was really when we did our little football show. He's who we had on during that week. We had a couple of sports guys on to get their take, and he pretty much nailed it. I mean, in that episode that we had with Carter, he predicted Bo Nix to win the Heisman. I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, he's right there. He made the finalists, came out today as we're recording this. The Heisman
49-3. Is that right? Did I see that 2 days ago? I hadn't seen that number. 49 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
I believe that is correct.
That's pretty wild.
Very
dude.
wild.
Like, just from if you're looking for a quarterback at the next level, like that.
For sure. I mean, the kid had a great year. No doubt about it. I think he kind of played himself out to me with the Heisman the other night. He didn't win the 2 games against Washington. So I mean, but that doesn't demean his amazing season that he had. Michael Penix with Washington, that dude has an arm. I mean, he's just a gunslinger. He is going to do very well in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I'm very, very impressed with him. He throws a pretty ball, man. Like, he just throws that high sailing, beautiful, tight spiral. Like, he's very, very good. So, but of course, Jayden Daniels just is the human highlight machine this year for LSU. If it wasn't for him, I think LSU probably goes 4-8. I mean, it would have been rough.
Oh, dude, he's an absolute freak.
He is.
Like, just it's crazy. He does it throwing the ball and then running the ball like on like Michael Vick type stuff.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of Vince Young back in the day. You know what I mean? What Vince could do with his legs and his command, and not just, you know what I mean? Like, he could really, really take over a game.
He can. He's such a good kid too. He's one of those he's just a good kid. I mean, just there's not anything bad to say about Jayden Daniels. Not a single thing. It looks as if the Saints, if they'll keep on losing, they may be able to get him. So
they'll just keep on
losing. They just keep on losing. At this point in time, whatever it takes to get rid of Dennis, I don't even give him the courtesy of calling him by his last name. Let's just get Dennis the hell out of here. I'm done with him. Done with him, man. I heard today, I was listening to local sports talk radio, going to pick Riley up this afternoon, and this is the best season that Dennis has ever had, the best start after 12 games. Once again, where they're at is 5-7. That ain't going to cut it. I mean, it's just, that ain't going to cut it. And I don't know what the answer is. I think they just need to clean house in New Orleans and basically just start all over. I mean, you look at the Patriots. It's just, it happens. You lose everything that you had for so long with Brady and with Breeze, and there's still some lingering parts that are left over and all, but it's over. That run's over. It's kind of
the difference between the Patriots and the Saints is that Sean Payton was smart enough to get the hell out of town. Bill Belichick,
he knew that he knew it was over
to leave and just kept driving that bus. And it's like, hey,
and they're going to end up. He's ultimately probably probably going to fire Bill Belichick, which is insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but
Bill Belichick fired Yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest coaches of all time. But I understand. I mean, that's the name of the game. That's the business. I mean, it's all about results. And if you're not winning, you're not going to stick around. And they've got to do something in New England to mix it up. It's just you got to put new,
I get
a fresh start. But it would be. I mean, the Saints really and truly are in a prime position to be able to get one of these quarterbacks. They don't have a strong history of picking anybody from LSU, which is odd, but the Saints never really they've had a handful over the years, but just always seem to avoid LSU. But I think they would be wise to pick up a kid like Jayden Daniels.
Dude, he's a guy that could come in and I know the NFL is a whole nother level. Everything's faster, everything's coming at you, but he's that kind of guy that could go in and have a little bit more success than the average.
Look at CJ Stroud,
what he can do, and
I mean, he came right in and they play similar. They have a similar style.
Yep.
He would have a learning curve, just like CJ Stroud is kind of. As the later in the season, now teams are starting to know how to defend him. The NFL is the NFL. It shows you why it's the best league week in and week out. The longer in the season you go, if you're still able to put up video game numbers, then you're just unbelievable. They found a way to slow him down some, but yeah, I would love to see Jayden Daniels make it to New Orleans. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be cool.
But jumping back to some of these other bowl games, I mean, I'm not going to go down the list of everything, but there are some pretty interesting ones. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. I know you're fired up for that. You got JMU versus Air Force.
Yeah, you do. JMU making their very first bowl appearance, had a phenomenal season. Hats off to them. I wish we could have played JMU in the Sunbelt Conference Championship game. It would have behooved both of us. Honestly, because I think whoever wins that game, if they would have been able to play, we would have been that premier Group of 5 school this year.
Yep.
And we would have. I think they would have gone over. I think we would have gone over. I think we should have gone over. You look at strength of schedule, but that's a whole nother argument. But so you got Liberty, SMU, and it comes down to Troy. Yeah. But JMU obviously, so that's going to be really cool. I like what they're doing there. It's cool. I'm glad they're in the conference.
Yeah,
so I'll be rooting for them.
Oh yeah. They're building something special there, and just having game day there that day. They lost, but to Appalachian State. But man,
dude,
what an
the
atmosphere!
Basketball team's ranked number 18 in the country.
Are they?
Yes, they got. They're one of our 5 programs to be in the top 25 in football and in basketball right now. I thank God they're here. I'm glad to have them. Their fans seem a little bit unrealistic, but that's okay. I get it. I feel the same way coming in first year. Get out the way. You know what I mean? I get it a little bit, but But overall, hey, they're a solid program.
They are, man. Of course, LSU plays in the ReliaQuest Bowl. They play Wisconsin. I think that has the potential to be a pretty good ball game. I think it.
Yeah, I do too.
It's not the worst by any means. Oregon and Liberty. Now that in the Fiesta Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl is always fun. It's always crazy. And you never know what's going to happen, kind of like when Boise State won. They beat Oklahoma that time when they were not supposed to many years ago. But I love the Fiesta Bowl. It's always fun. That game's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that one.
Yeah. All right. So I got to say something. I should just let you move on with that and just not
No,
say
I think
word.
You should say something.
All right. So look, Liberty has gone undefeated this year. Great football team. The things they've done, it's really cool. But man, I really hate this because they are representing the top Group of 5 team to go play Oregon, and they're 27-point underdogs.
Oof.
And here's the fact: and I won't even say Troy, right? Let me just back off for a minute. And this is not a knock on Liberty. It's just I know what they have.
Yeah.
Like watching them. 7 of their wins came from teams that were ranked outside of the top 100. Okay, not the top 25, the top 100.
Wow.
And I just don't I think SMU would have given them a better battle than what Liberty's going to be able to put up against Oregon. And I think JMU would have given them a much better battle, just like I think Troy would have.
Yeah.
But I'm not knocking Liberty. I'm going to root for them. I'm a group of 5 guy, right? I'm going to root for them, but I just I thought the selection committee, I thought it was interesting. The selection committee said, let's put the best teams, the best 4 teams in this playoff, right?
Yep.
They also had the same obligation to put what's the best group of 5 team that has an opportunity to go play in this New Year's Six Bowl and beat Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Liberty's just not it,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know, like, in my opinion, nothing against Liberty, man. Like I said, I hated to even say anything. I just wanted to move on. But I'm like, you've used different criteria to select your best group of 5 team than you did for your top 4. So I don't know, man. I'm a little aggravated because it's going to make us look bad. You know, like I think SMU would have been better served to play in that game.
But yeah, man, just kind of wrapping up bowl games and all of that. A couple more that look intriguing. You have Ohio State and Missouri playing that in the Cotton Bowl. I think that could be a lot of fun. Don't know who all you're going to get playing in that game, but I think you're going to get a hell of a shot from Missouri. So Ohio State better show up because Missouri can score. I mean, they're a damn good football team. LSU's best win of the season was going there and beating them in a day where I was just like, this defense is just so terrible. Well, no, Missouri did the same. They did it to everybody too. You know, they were good. They good.
They did
real good.
They are good.
Ole Miss and Penn State play in the Peach Bowl. That'll be fun.
Saw that.
That'll be fun. Lane's going to come in there with some kinks to mess with Penn State, and Penn State has a really good defense. So that game's fun.
I like Lane Kiffin, man.
I do too.
I'm glad he's in the SEC.
Oh yeah,
I think it's awesome.
Hell yeah, I am too, man. I mean, there's no one better on Twitter than him. He gets in his way, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. Like, a dude just has no give a F's. He does not care. He just says it. He creates controversy. But I tell you what, he has done an awesome job at Ole Miss. I mean, I don't like to say that, but it's true. I like Lane Kiffin. You know, whenever they originally hired Coach O at LSU, part of the reason of why they hired Coach O was because Lane Kiffin, they're like best friends. Lane Kiffin was going to be the offensive coordinator along with Coach O, and everybody's like, well, then, yeah. You have both of them recruiting and both of them on the same team. You still get 2019. You still get all of that. You still are going to get that run. But could you imagine how dangerous they would have been for a couple of years together? It would have been nuts. But then he went on and
Florida Atlantic.
Atlantic. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course bolted on to Ole Miss, which I'm surprised that he hasn't left Ole Miss yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's
almost like he's waiting on a job in Tuscaloosa to come open.
I think you might be right. Like, you know what? So he's done that before, right? He's jumped. He went out to USC and then like, oh, that was just too much. You know what I mean? Like, well, hold on. I got a pretty good thing right here in Ole Miss. You know what I mean? I'm competing. I'm making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
What they win? 10 games?
They won 10 games.
9, 10?
Yep, 10.
I mean, dude, that's unbelievable. You win 10 in SEC West. I mean, that is stout.
Very stout.
That's strong.
Yeah, very strong.
Good Lord.
I mean, they had they beat Alabama, they're in the SEC championship. Had they beat Georgia, they're in the playoff. But they can't find Atlanta if they tried, brother. So sorry, Ole Miss fans, but it's the truth.
Oh, yeah. Lane Kiffin is like if Pat McAfee started coaching college football. You know what I mean? Like,
I like
them both,
guy.
dude.
Oh,
I do too. He's so cool, dude. Like he's so. It's like, dang, man. I watch him. Like I watch his show, and then I watch him. He does the show, the Pat McAfee show from game day the day before.
Yeah.
I'll have that on, like listening to that if I'm driving. You know, like, dude, I like what that guy does.
I don't know when
and his energy he brings.
He brings so much energy. I don't know when the dude sleeps. It's like he's constantly pumping out some kind of content. He's live somewhere. The team that he has around him all the time. His team, kudos to you guys. Y'all are amazing that edit those videos, pump them out, do all of his socials and all of that stuff. Because he's just on camera all the time. every day, just always just pumping out content, but he's fantastic. Some of my friends don't like him. They're like, I can't stand him. I'm like, what can you not like about a dude who has an unbelievable work ethic, a ton of energy, extremely entertaining, keeps it fun, loose? Like, the dude's perfect for sports. Like, how can you not like the guy? I don't understand anybody. How I could see that he's a little too much for somebody. I
totally get that. I totally get it. But what he's brought to College game day, like at first, like I'll be honest, like when I saw him on game day, was it last year? Was his first year or whatever? But I was like, let's see how this works out in this dynamic, because I could tell it was a little like, like they were trying to get used to it, because their flow was a little more, kind of even keel and cool. And then suddenly you got, what is this guy doing? And not only is he a little different and ruffling the feathers, he's kind of taking over the stage suddenly. But now it's so good, man. And it all works so well. Like, dude, I love it. And I love that day before show he does with the Pat McAfee show is there on campus. Dude, that's as good of a show.
Oh, it is.
It's game day.
It is. It's better than game day. They do crazier stuff. It's more fun.
They do. I mean, it's out there. I saw him at what was that? I forget where he was at, and throwing the basketballs. The kids getting them to shoot basketballs. Had a basketball goal set up. Pay the rest of their college.
Somebody won like $5,000 or something. Just
yeah, dude. Yeah, it's wild.
It's fun.
So, Pat McAfee, love your show.
Yes, sir.
Love to have you come on Tigs.
We would love that.
Talk about your show.
Yeah, man, come on. I mean, Marty's been on here. Why wouldn't you come on here, Pat? I mean,
I agree. He should.
I think we beat this like a dead horse. We've talked about everything that everybody else has talked about, but there you have it, everybody. You have the Tigs Bits official end of the season football wrap-up show. Blasi, any last thoughts?
What a season so far, right? We've still got bowl games. We still got playoffs. But, like, what a year, man. What a year so far. Personally, obviously, as a Troy fan, like I've loved it and I always look forward to college football and the season. And I never take these types of seasons for granted in any capacity. So try to take it all in, just like we talked about the first of the year. Just enjoy each and every week and whatever it gives you. Like you said, y'all aren't in the playoffs, right? But dude, you have a Heisman Trophy winner probably sitting right there at LSU
Most
this
likely,
year.
Yeah.
So
good year.
You gotta pull from each year what it is.
That's right.
That's right. Heck of a year, dude. It's been awesome. Can't wait to see what these bowl games produce and what the playoffs show. So it's gonna be fun, man. But that's it, man. Other than that, I mean, go Trojans.
There you go. Go Trojans. Congrats to the back-to-back Sunbelt champions. Congrats to the Alabama Crimson Tide, as much as it pains me. And congratulations to Jayden Daniels, your 2023 Heisman Trophy winner. This comes out on Thursday. That's Saturday, but it's going to happen. We're speaking it into existence.